In support of my bill, eliminating the Barriers to Innovation Act. This is a bipartisan bill that addresses the much-needed collaboration between the Commodities Futures Trading Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission. What we have is a regulation of commodities through one entity of our federal government here in the United States and regulation of securities by another entity of our government. What we need is conversation between those two entities about the nature of digital assets and cryptocurrencies. We have neither a security nor a commodity in what is a new creation of digital assets. Now, what we see with the CFTC is that everything is a commodity in their worldview, and the Securities and Exchange Commission thinks, well, you're close, everything's actually a security. And so they each want to regulate something that is not in their nature to regulate, or not in the substance of their capacity to regulate. And so we have neither fish nor fowl, neither security nor what the Commodities Futures Trading Commission wants to regulate in their world. And so you have neither fish nor fowl when it comes to this new creation of cryptocurrencies. The fact is that the Bitcoin white paper written by somebody that called themselves Satoshi Nakamoto is more than a decade old. And what we've seen in that time period is the valuation of Bitcoin and then things that are like Bitcoin that use an encrypted ledger system in the blockchain and tokenization to open up the value of that new creation of a blockchain. And that new creation of cryptocurrencies is now valued over $2 trillion globally. Most of that innovation has happened outside of the United States because we don't have a legal and regulatory framework that is permissive of the raising of capital in order to develop those technologies. So people in the United States, American citizens, are missing out on innovation and the potential economic upside of those innovations. I would say this is one of the few pieces of technology in the last 100 years that the Americans have not been the drivers of. In fact, we're reacting a lot to what's happening globally. And so I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Lynch, for his thoughtful engagement on this bill and his important structural changes to make sure that this can be a bipartisan bill. And those conversations really are that balance between economic opportunity and growth that a lot of us on the Republican side want to emphasize at all costs, frankly, and then the protection of our citizens that some on the left want to have at all costs. And so the balance here, striking that balance is really necessary for us as legislators. Let's just be pragmatic and honest about it. And so Mr. Lynch has brought some nice changes to this bill that actually will enable it to be a bipartisan vote, I hope. So what this bill does is, with our colleagues from the House Agriculture Committee, is it requires the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, to establish a working group focused on digital assets. This is the first step to opening the dialogue between our regulators and market participants and move to much-needed clarity. The fact is this working group will produce a report within a year that includes an analysis of the domestic regulatory framework necessary for the development of cryptocurrencies and digital assets here in the United States. It's really important that we get our act together and that we be technology permissive, that we ensure that it's legitimate money raised here, that our existing laws are adhered to, but that we adapt and change and don't allow the debate between the CFTC, which sees everything as fish, and the Securities and Exchange Commission that sees everything as fowl. When they look at this new entity, which is neither fish nor fowl, we have to have a smart regulatory framework for that. And so I'd urge my colleagues to support this bill and would reserve the balance of my time.